ECSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download.
Excuse me, Mr. DJ.
Hey, check this out. We got a great show coming your way.
From the ECSI Sports Studios, the #1 sports information program in America, The Breakfast Bankroll, with your host, the sports broker, Jeff Dawson.
Good morning, sports fans from all around the globe. I am the host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and it's that time of the week for the Breakfast Bankroll with good friend and colleague, Mr. Matthew George. Go follow him at MG28 Sports on the Twitter. You can catch all his NBA, WNBA action. Catch him on the Sports Grid. And, of course, his podcast with Mr. Coach Young. As we're getting closer to the NBA Finals, the headline today, can the Knicks stave off elimination versus the Pacers at the MECCA tonight? I know Matthew will have a lot of insight in his thoughts as OKC Thunder into the championship, a team that looks like, when we look back here, if they take care of business, I'm not going to say they're the Celtics of '86 or the MJ teams back then, but this team is just built to win. Their depth is second to none. They just keep coming at you. I was on the Sports Grid last night, and we had the team total under 106.5 and never threatened. Their defense is just second to none, and it's such a joy to watch as an NBA purist. So first and foremost, a shout out to our proud sponsors and partnerships. It's WagerWire. Head on over to Google Play, download the app. It is free. Great community. Travis, Zach, Guy, myself, Amber Hawley, Carol Bucks, Matthew, Ali, Jay Berry. The list is endless. Just download the app and we'll take care of it from there. AtlantaSteaksandSeafood.com. Terry Smith was going to come on after Matthew George today. Life gets busy, delivery or two. We're going to try to bring him on tomorrow to talk some steaks. Go to AtlantaSteaksandSeafood.com. Steaks, seafood chops, appetizers, wines. Terry's got it all. He's got 4 subscription plans as well. Set it and forget it. Every 30 days, you can have a box of protein delivered straight to your house. Like me today. I can't wait. It's Christmas Day here. We got a box on the way straight from Atlanta. Can't wait for some fillets, some New York strips, some lamb chops. Terry does it amazing. So go sign up today. Tell him JD from ECSI sent you. So without further ado, Mr. Matthew George.
Morning, Jeff. How are we doing?
We're doing great. How about yourself?
Well, we're enjoying the NBA and how it's transpired. And, like you said, the Thunder is in their first NBA finals since KD, Russell Westbrook, and James Harden back in 2012. So it's interesting that it's great to see a new team in the NBA finals after a long time.
Well, yeah, no LeBron, no Curry. See a lot of Monday morning quarterbacks this morning on social media flexing their check. The easy money. OKC in 5. we were hoping for that Ant versus SGA, flashes of it, but at the end of the day, OKC just too strong, too long, too deep.
Exactly, and the fact of Game Five definitely showed it, and like you said, you hit the nail on the head with that under with 106 and a half or 105 and a half yesterday. So it was, I mean, it was doomed from the start for the Timberwolves, but on the other side, you can't stop the offense and defensive presence of the Thunder, and that's how they were built. That this young team is stepped up in major ways. Not to mention that the MVP in of this season in SGA has definitely been stepping up as well. So this entire core and the bench of OKC is second to none.
You know, the funny thing is, we'll project here for a few minutes here. The Pacers up 3-1, trying to take care of business. I think the Knicks will have to get out early, keep the crowd in there. Don't let the Pacers get cooking with Crisco. But my point here is, if it's Pacers and OKC, I mean, the Pacers can put up 130 with their eyes closed. The problem is they can't stop a nosebleed. It's not a good matchup for the Pacers versus OKC, on the Pacers side, that is.
Yeah, it's a good point, Jeff, that you make because the defense does win championships as we know, but sometimes but also you have to balance that with offense and defense. So it's a matter of how well can they defend each other. I don't know if SGA can be defended by Tyrese Halliburton. That's gonna be a very very tough defensive presence that he has to bring that he doesn't bring to the table. So uh, who do you who do you match up against SGA, and also who do you match up against Jalen Williams? I don't know if Pascal Siakam can do that. He's not really a defensive forward as per se, but I think that if it comes to the hypothetical, it might go 5 games if it is said and done with Pacers and the Thunder, because there's been hypotheticals already on the market already, in the terms of at least in the FanDuel market. So, but it's interesting. It's interesting to see that those kind of prop markets are out already, and you know, to me, I think it's OKC in five if it does come down to it.
Well, and the Pacers been playing the underdog card. They've been dogs in all their series here, but they keep prevailing. Not a lot of people had them getting by the Cavs, correct?
Yeah, and they've been sitting with that chip on their shoulder ever since. But I in the way that the Patriots have been playing nowadays has just been stellar, and they barely made any changes from last year to this year. I would affect think I don't think they made any changes at all. So you still keep the core that they had with with Tyrese Halliburton, Miles Turner, and Pascal Siakam. And obviously, the big focal point is the bigs and how well they can play in the interior and outside. Because we all know that Miles Turner can be a good stretch five when he needs to be, and then a good interior presence from Pascal Siakam. He can definitely shoot the ball whenever he wants from the perimeter, but he doesn't really need to do that. So he can finish around the rim, and then Tyrese Halliburton can be that double double machine. So it's just a matter of how much they can be, and they're gonna still be underdogs. If they make the finals, they will still be underdogs no matter what. Even if they go into Indiana, they'll still be underdogs, probably by a 2 point underdog.
I'll take it to the next step. Knicks miraculously find a way to win the next 3 games. If they had to match up against OKC, obviously it would go 7 games. Now you'd have the Thunder with at least a week plus rest. Uh, Call me crazy here, but I will tell you that I think the Knicks will have a hard time breaking 100 in probably almost every one of those games. They might have one of those outbursts where they get, 110, 115. They won't get a 130 game. OKC won't allow that, but I think with that stagnant offense, I think that the Knicks will have a hard time breaking 100, Matthew.
And it's kind of hard for me it's kind of hard for me to predict anything but a sweep. I'm sorry to Knicks fans about this, and I'm from New York, but I'm not a New York I'm not a New York fan when it comes to basketball at all. But the way that this team is constructed with the Knicks, it doesn't seem great at all. We'll talk about Game 5 in a few minutes here, but like just from that hypothetical perspective, how can you stop SGA with Jalen Brunson? Are you defending him on that? He's just gonna be posting him up like every single time. No, that's not gonna happen. And also the fact that they have their former player in Isaiah Hartenstein. I don't know how you stop him either. I mean, can't Cat can't really stop really a Brunson of a barn, to be honest, because he's not a defensive presence. That, and also that the Knicks don't have much of a bench. So there's a lot of flaws with the Knicks compared to the Pacers in terms of that kind of aspect in the East. And that's how I don't see, if even if the Knicks try to figure out a way to reverse sweep them, it's gonna be a sweep no matter what. Even if they face OKC in the finals, as much as I would say that, here's the thing: the league, I believe, in my opinion, and this is only my opinion, then the way I think the league wanted it is OKC and the Knicks, because obviously on the OKC side, which already happened, they're a highly marketed team now, since they have all this draft capital and the young players on the team, and especially since SGA is the MVP. On the flip side, the Knicks are the highest, if not the one of the highest high market value teams in the NBA. So you'll get a lot of viewership and a lot of tickets be selling especially at MSG. People will go over the wire to just do watch parties and all that kind of stuff. So that brings up the viewership for the league itself. If it's Pacers and the OKC, then that viewership will go down. So my hypothetical of saying the Knicks would make the finals, it's not really coming to fruition since Pacers are up 3-1. So it would kind of suck for the league in terms of that kind of aspect, but you know.
We'll see what happens tonight. 8 o'clock, opening number, Knicks -5 with a 223.5. Currently at the Circa. Good morning to Mr. Benson and Mr. Stevens. 4.5 with a 222.5. Little money trickling in on the Pacers. Initial thought with the opening numbers, and then how do you see this game playing out?
Well, since that the games basically just went over in the Knicks series, and when they went to MSG, I'm expecting an over, and that's why we're going to the prop markets with basically the over of I believe now it's, what is it now, 223.5. I think that's going to sail over that number. In terms of the prop markets, we're going one side with the Knicks and the other side with the Pacers. We're obviously not going to parlay this, but just like to show it up there. We're going to go with Jalen Brunson with 30 plus points and -125. Obviously, he's hit that in three of his last 4 games in the Eastern Conference Finals. And then Carl Anthony Towns, all 4 games throughout the series, he's hit 20 plus points. So we're going to definitely go that again. It came out at a +187 if you want to parlay those two. On the flip side, we'll go with Tyrese Halliburton on a double-double at -115. I'm kind of surprised that this is only at -115, even though he got a triple-double in his last game with no turnovers, which is the first in NBA history. And not to mention, he's also hit that number of double-double in 3 of his last 4 games in the Eastern Conference Finals, which is very interesting that there's only a -115. But we could parlay that with Pascal Siakam. I'm gonna take the leap here. I don't usually do the prop. I do usually go down this prop market of a +250. But hey, he's been a damn good player in terms of how he's able to score the ball. So we're going to take him at plus 25 plus points at +250 because he's hit that two of his last 4 games in the Eastern Conference Finals. So it doesn't surprise me that how he's able to score the ball. But this is how I like see it playing it out. The over is going to be the big aspect of this game tonight.
If they win, they move on. They go back to Indiana. My assumption is Saturday, or did they push that to Sunday?
My assumption would be Sunday because then they have given the rest time for all of these for all these players. But let's see, because games 6, if it does go necessary, would be Saturday. So we'll see how that plays out.
And then if they somehow get to a 7, the assumption is back Monday in New York City.
Correct.
WNBA, before we break down a couple games on the docket, season starts. Paige, I'm a UConn guy. Caitlin Clark being Caitlin. The little battle with Angel Reese, of course. And then they they had a 12-point lead late against New York, and New York came storming back. Caitlin gets hurt, out for 2 weeks. It's almost like the air was let out of the balloon. In other words, everyone, the general public that is, flocking. Is Caitlin playing today? If so, is it on TV? And now there's no Caitlin for a couple weeks. Do you feel that wind out of the balloon with no Caitlin Clark for 2 weeks?
Yeah, it does because not only to mention that like no one's buying like either people are refunding their tickets or they're just not going to go to the game. It really does show how much of an impact Caitlin Clark has in the league because she brought the viewership to the league where no one really has because like obviously she's been on the on the social media high rise since she was like in Iowa and has brought that over to the WNBA. So the fact that that this kind of impact, it should show how much of impact she can make in the WNBA on a professional level from both a business perspective and also from a viewership perspective. So it really does show how much she can do. She can make an impact both on the floor and on the business side of things on the WNBA too.
Two games on the docket tonight in the W itself. Golden State travels to New York. Overnight number, New York minus 18 with a 163 down to 162 and a half. Still at 18. I did some investigating early this morning because I'm a first half guy. I look for the carrots. I look for the signs. The Liberty minus 10 in the first half, so they're expecting when this team locks it in, again, they were playing a little grab ass for most of the game against Caitlin Clark last Saturday. And then I was like, oh my God, they're going to win this game outright. Hold my beer. And next thing you know, they go on a gigantic run. They end the game with a win here. This Liberty team is locked. They're loaded. Our thoughts initially on tonight's game, minus 18 with a 162 and a half.
Yeah, and it last time when Coach and I did the podcast, it was around 18 and a half. So that's slowly getting like maybe one pizza slice, as you say, like with Golden State. But I mean, no sweat. Let's no sweat. We could take that spread of 18 and a half because they definitely blew the waters. They blew out the Valkyries in the first game against the Liberty. So and expect them to get at least a 20 point lead and don't look back. In terms of the prop market, we are going with Natasha Cloud and Sabrina Ionescu. Both of them going for 15 plus points because Natasha Cloud. I will gauge very specifically. She has been named Eastern Conference Player of the Week, and that's because she's been on a really good tear in terms of both the offense and defense. So she scored 15 plus points in her first 5 games of the season, or in first 4 games of the season with this team, with her new team in the Liberty. And not to mention, she's made the impact on both ends. And then Sabrina Ionescu, I mean, we can see enough about her. She can definitely score the ball at will. It's just a matter of how much of an impact she can make tonight because this team in terms of the depth can really score the ball. So she doesn't necessarily have to be the first initial scorer on the team, especially since she has herself, Natasha Cloud, Jonquil Jones and Brianna Stewart all sharing the ball and all sharing the load of the scoring. So, I'm really expecting her to, knock down a bunch of threes as well. So its expectations of the Liberty is one of the best teams. Coach, when we're doing the podcast, does say that the Minnesota Lynx are the best team in the WNBA right now. I kind of agree with that, but I do think in terms, I'm not just speaking from just a New York fan perspective, but by how the way that the New York that the Liberty is playing right now, they are on par with how the Lynx are playing right now in terms of the best team in the WNBA.
The nightcap, well, actually, at 8 o'clock start, Dallas at Chicago. Dallas opened up 3.5 point favorites with a 169.5, down to one at the Circle with a 170. So some money overnight came in on Chicago, Matthew.
This one scratches my head a little bit because I don't know how the Wings are only a 1 point favorite, even though, in my personal opinion, the Sky is one of the worst teams in the league because they can't initiate an offense for God knows why, because they can't shoot the ball. Camila Cardoso and Angel Reese are only interior presence, and I mean, let's face it, Angel Reese can't really finish at the rim. She can rebound the ball like crazy, obviously, as we know, but she can't. But I don't know, her interior presence can only do so much, and she needs to finish right around the rim with contact as well. So, in terms of the prop market, we're going with your Paige Beckers in terms of the prop markets. We're taking this a little heavy because I'm expecting that she does come off that great win over the Connecticut Sun. So not to mention she's been absolutely stellar, even though the team as a whole still needs some fixing up because she and her team are still adjusting accordingly. But she did get 20 plus points in her last game against the Connecticut Sun. She got 21. So we're taking it again at plus 300, and then plus 6 assists at minus 240. That is heavily juiced, so you can parlay this. I parlayed this and I got that at a plus 393. So you can definitely get some value out of that as well with the 6 plus assists. So she's hit that 6 plus assists as well at three of her first 3 of her last 4 games. So expect for her to make that impact as the season goes along with the WNBA, because I think, I mean, obviously she's gonna run away with Rookie of the Year. That's an obvious standpoint, but for her specifically, she's definitely adjusting to the way the offense flows with Dallas Wings. So expect for them to blow. I would expect to blow for them to blow the waters tonight. But especially since I don't know how Chicago is going to be able to initiate the offense. So we'll see what happens tonight.
Before we let you wrap up and go and get ready for the rest of your afternoon and evening here, I wanted to throw a little local Boston Celtics another week to simmer. It sounds like Joe Mazzulla's all set. They're not going to do anything on that end. And now, again, the talks, who they're going to move and how they're going to piece this thing together. The fan base, the easiest thing is Porzingis. Let someone else have Porzingis. It sounds like Drew Holiday getting a lot of talk. The Clippers were involved before he came to the Celtics. Dallas, another team that might be interested there. I've talked at length about Jaylen Brown. If you really want to get cute, you could move him maybe back to Houston, not back, reunite with Ime. They do have the number 12 pick, if I'm correct, 10 or 12 in the lottery coming up there. A name that is starting to just raise a little because he'd be wanted probably not as much as Jaylen Brown, but would pique an interest in more teams in the NBA. That's Derek White. Can you see in any world that the Celtics say, hey, we want to keep Jaylen Brown, we want to keep Jason Tatum together. We can move Porzingis if we have to. We still don't know if Al's coming back or not. Do you think the Celtics would start to waiver Derek White around to the NBA?
I don't think so because he's a good example of both a good offensive and defensive player. If you're trying to develop a player that is capable of knocking down threes and being a good defensive presence both on the perimeter and the interior, that is Derek White. Now I understand he is getting up with age. By next year he'll be 31. So it's gonna be interesting on how long they could keep him, in. So he's on a 4 year, $118 million contract, and he'll be unrestricted free agent in 2029. So he's still under contract. It's just a matter of how of if someone's willing to take his annual like 28 million. I don't know if a team will be taking that kind of risk. However, I think that the Celtics should keep Derek White. The Jalen Brown situation, I think, is more likely in terms of the way they can dim down that luxury tax that they owe over almost a $500 million, which is still insane to me. Granted, hey, they won a championship with the team, so I mean, hey, kudos to them. But it's a matter of the. I think Derek White is too good of a player to release, and I don't think the Celtics were able to recover from that.
It's kind of funny because Jason Tatum had that surgery like 12 hours after the injury. Therefore, the speculation is he's going to be able to recover a lot sooner. And that's all the talk will be all next year once the season starts is, you know, when is Jason coming back? How is his progress? Achilles, he's young enough. I get that. He's not in his mid to late 30s with blowing out an Achilles. But again, you rush him back, and then if something happens again, you don't want to rush him back. They're a team that is built currently that can easily, even without Tatum, be a top four seed in the East. Obviously, Giannis is the key. Does Giannis stay with the Bucks? Does he stay in the East? Do they trade him out west? And then the East opens up even more. The upstart Cleveland Cavaliers. I love the Orlando team. They're going to just keep to get better. Miami waiting to make a big move. The Sixers are aging. The Knicks get a taste of the big stage. They'll be there. So I think the luxury tax is the big thing for the Celtics here. How do we do that? I guess on paper, we move Porzingis, we move Drew Holiday, then we keep White, we keep Brown. We'll have to then hope Tatum comes back. If not, it was a season that we were competitive. We win the first round, we lose in 7 in the second round. But other than the luxury tax, Matthew, it's a team that's still constructed to win now.
Yes, absolutely, and I definitely agree because even if you move Porzingis and Drew Holiday, obviously those are guys with expiring contracts, and then and it also comes with age. Like Drew Holiday is in his mid 30s as well, so we know that as well. So like, if you could find pieces, is either that or just keep or just start Peyton Pritchard and then just go from there, and then just say, hey, we can make, like you said, make the at least be a playing team or somewhere around like a 6 or 7 seed. I think the Celtics will still be competitive, like you said. But I think the way that this team is constructed is gonna be a lot of question marks more than just like, hey, we're good enough to actually still make the playoffs. So, it does really blow that the biggest impact, as you mentioned, is Jason Tatum and how he's well to recover because we know how Kobe Bryant dealt with this Achilles tears. It really derailed his career, even though it was more towards the end. But just in general, especially this kind of injury, it's tough. It is very tough to come back, especially trying to make a run for the finals. We saw what happened with KD during the finals last year. He tried to come back and rushed it, and now next thing you know, he tears it again. So you got to be the Celtics need to be very cautious with their franchise player in Jason Tatum because both of them they drafted both Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown. You have those two players that are such a dynamic duo. I just don't think they get rid of them per se because they've won with this team before. Now it's just a matter of can you find a different supporting cast to help them out and win another championship in the long run.
In Brad Stevens, we trust here, and I don't think
Mhm.
it's been brought up enough last year, counting preseason, counting regular season, counting the playoffs. He played well over 100 games, took a couple weeks off, boom, he's in the Olympics. And so even though, he got benched and didn't get a lot of minutes there,
Right.
but my point is a lot of wear and tear. and his body seems like he's still building. So if I'm the Celtics, I'll cut some payroll. I'll do what we need to do. We'll be competitive next year, guys,
Mm,
but I am not going to rush Jason Tatum, of course. But
mhm.
scroll has been going the whole time. Everyone knows here on Twitter to follow you at MG28 Sports. I know, you know, the world knows they can go on Sports Grid. That's where we met and were introduced. I was on last night with Scott Wetzel and Mr. Adam Kaufman. But as we always wrap up this segment here, Matthew, tell them about where to find your podcast with Coach Young.
Yep, absolutely. And the podcast with Coach we do with Coach James Young, we do every Tuesday and Thursday that gets released. We go record Monday and Wednesday, recapping and previewing everything with the WNBA, NBA, and college basketball. Throughout the week, I produce a show during called In Game Live Game Day on Sports Grid, Tuesday 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern. Again, just as Jen Beston, he'll come there at least once a week to recap and do everything live with the WNBA, NBA, NHL, and college, and also baseball season as we're in the heat of it as well. So we're definitely in the stroll of things, and we'll see how everything goes with the playoffs as well. It's not to mention Panthers winning last night, and also OKC make it to the finals.
Yeah, tonight we got Edmonton trying to get to the Cup to face the Panthers. Will be a tough task in Dallas. The same with the Knicks trying to stave off of elimination as they host the Pacers, a couple of WNBA games, small MLB slate. So I want to thank everyone watching and listening. Again, go follow Matthew at MG28 Sports, and I can follow myself at EC Sports Invest. Tomorrow, 11 a.m., NCAA Insiders Regional College Baseball starts. Matthew George at 11:30. We want to wish everyone a happy Thirsty Thursday. Behave yourself, stay in your lanes, and we will see you soon.